Hey everybody, welcome back to Selling to the CIO. It's been a long time since we've done a podcast, and I'm glad to be back with you. And we got a familiar face back, although it's been a while. I mean, you may not be that familiar. Joe, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good, David. Yeah, thanks for the invite. I appreciate being back on your show here.
Yeah, it's good to see you, and I appreciate you. You know, I've been on a little bit of a hiatus, it seems, so I'm glad you can be the first one back. So, for those that don't know Joe, why don't you say hi, introduce yourself, and we'll get started with some questions to help sales reps out there.
Yeah, great. So, as you said, my name's Joe Gardner. I'm the Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of a $5.5 billion financial services organization in middle of Pennsylvania. I've done a number of jobs within IT, from software to data to integration to project management to now technology operations. So I've seen a lot on the provider side, I guess, of this equation. And I always like talking to you, David, because I know nothing about the sales side, and it's completely confusing to me. But anything I can do to help bridge the gap, I'm up for it.
Well, you may not know anything about the sales side, but I'm sure you get pinged constantly by salespeople. So that's what this is for, right? The landscape, right, since COVID, it's certainly changed. It's a lot of this, but I think people are definitely back in action, which is good. But what is the landscape? Are you still getting bombarded, every day? And what are some of these tactics the reps are using? Do you answer your phone? Do you answer emails? What's it like for you out there these days?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Last time we talked, I guess we were coming out of COVID, or I forget exactly when it was, but it was definitely looming large on our landscape. And since COVID, I feel like AI has changed the game quite a bit.
Yeah.
I feel like I get not targeted, but I feel like I get a lot of emails that haven't been written by a person. It makes it kind of so easy to sort of just generate a ton of emails. So the amount of emails has gone up. Of course, the flip side of that is I have AI too, right? So I can then use that to clean my inbox up a little bit, and I can avoid getting contacted by that. And
That's
I think,
right.
yeah, I think we addressed this last time. And I feel really bad for you guys, right? Because it is so hard to get my time. It really is.
Yeah.
And I'm a nice guy. I like to partner with good people. I think win-win. I try and find good partners that I can work with over years, regardless of where we are in our organizations. But to get my time is very difficult, and you're not going to get it by sending me an email or calling my phone. It's just, you're not. I'm not going to answer that phone call or that email. And worse, if you end up on my block list, then you're never going to get me, even if I do want to talk to you, right?
Right.
So it's very tricky. It's very tricky. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I know you haven't asked me this, but I kind of, I read your book. I kind of follow along with your podcast here. And I think the biggest thing to do is try and get to know me through people who know me, or meet me at a trade event, or even a like a sales sponsored event, right? Like, I know you sometimes put on events I'll go to. That's a good opportunity to meet me, because I'm in that space mentally, if that makes sense. I'm there. I'm trying to learn what's going on. I'm trying to meet people. Sometimes it can be difficult as a technology executive to meet people, right? We're all sort of introverted and shy and so forth. So, it's an opportunity for me to get outside of my comfort zone and meet some people. And that's a great time to come and talk to me, and, just get to know me as a person. Let me get to know you as a person, and then we'll figure out if we can do business.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And it's, you're funny. I got a recording that's popped up that, this is being recorded, and AI is generating summaries right as we speak, right? So it is everywhere, and you're right. I use it. I'm guilty of it. Certainly when I'm writing emails, it's checking to make sure that I'm writing it the right way and correcting it, blah, 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 right? And yeah, are there any emails that will catch your attention? How about if somebody writes you a handwritten note and FedEx it to you, or you see something that security's on your mind, and you see something and it will catch your attention. There's no chance, right? I mean, it's like,
Yeah, so I'll tell you my secret, because it's like 0.001% chance, right?
yeah,
So I have responded to cold calls that are from organizations that I've worked with in the past, even if I haven't worked with a particular rep, right? So if I've used a company or I've used a piece of software in the past, and somebody says, "Hey, I see you used this in the past. Are you interested in talking to me?" There's a possibility that yes, I am interested, because I have used that product in the past, and it does fit a need that I might have still.
yeah,
I've also, I hate to say this because now everybody from my alma maters will be emailing me, but I also have a tendency to stop if I see my alma mater or see some sort of shared interest.
yeah,
If you happen to luck upon a shared interest, I may stop and say, "Oh, let me talk about that a little bit." Um, but that's generally how it's going to happen. I don't know. It's hard to say, but if you come at me from a here's my product perspective, it's just I'm generally not interested, right?
I try to educate the reps, my reps, whoever I talk to. You got to find something else outside of their interest, right? I say go on LinkedIn, look and see what organizations they're involved with, right?
Yeah.
There's always some people that have some interest down below, and try to connect that way, right? Try to find out, like you said, the conferences that you're going to, and make sure you participate that way. Calling people like you and emailing, there's no time. You just can't have it, right? You're on meetings all day. You're getting screamed at, right, from the business. It's just, I know you want to learn, and like you said, that's why I do things like I do, and try to do a CIO forum and get people together learn from each other, where they're not being sold. And that's where I kind of find that people will have some interest and show up once in a while. And you, like you said, make those meaningful connections. Are you finding that you're asking your current vendors, like, what else can you do for me? Because that's another thing I'm hearing out there, right? Like, folks like you don't want 15 vendors in your environment, right? It's a lot to manage. It's a lot to worry about. You'd rather have, I hate to say one throat to choke, but I'm seeing that, hey, a lot of our customers, I'm trying to educate them on all the stuff that we can do, so they can, hey, by the way, we may be able to do that for you as well, and save you some money or whatever it might be. Do you look for that as well? What's your philosophy around that?
Yeah, I do to an extent. So just to give you some wisdom, I've tried to be positive as well. So I use the term one back to Pat.
I love it. There you go.
And that gives you a little bit of a better.
Thank you. I appreciate that as a salesperson, you saying it. So.
Yeah. Where I'll go is I generally don't want 15. You're absolutely right. It's way too complicated, and it's hard to keep track of things. And technology is so integrated now that it's also hard to draw clear lines. And I end up in that situation where I'm trying to be fair to everyone, and it's like, the way to be fair is to reduce the number of total vendors in my space.
Yeah.
One probably is a little too few, right? Like there's always value in a little competition, a little redundancy, and a little allowing your partner to be experts in the space where they are experts, and not necessarily requiring them to try and be experts in space that are adjacent or even maybe outside of their zone. But yeah, I do try and reduce, and I do lean on people that I've worked with. And we've talked, I've heard you on your podcast talk about, partners for life, right? Like, you're building relationships in this space, and you really are. I have, in my current position, I have 2 new vendors, and I have 2 that I brought with me from another organization, right? So, that happens, right? Where I like what this person's provided for me, and usually it's a bias towards action and a bias towards help, not necessarily the product that they're selling. And then, because I know they have my best interests at heart, because I know they make my problem their problem. That was the name of our last podcast, right? I know I can call them up and say, "Hey, I've got a new problem. How can you help me solve it?" And then we go on from there.
I think you just found the name for the new one, right? Bias towards help and action. I like that. Those are 2 Or does that make sense? And I always say on the flip side of the coin, right? Be honest with your customers, right? You know, sometimes I feel, we can be a Walmart, right? We can tell you that we do everything, but, but there's certain things we do very well. So focus on that. Don't try to oversell your customers. Don't say you can do something that you can't, because you know what? If you screw up that one little thing that you wanted extra business for, and it goes bad, you're going to sacrifice all the business that you have, right? It's not worth it, right? So
That's right.
And I always say, just be honest. You don't want to, like you said, customer for life. And and I always say it takes 2 years to win a customer and 5 seconds to lose them.
That's right.
It's unfortunately, right? Unless you have a deep grounded relationship, and it's, a lot of times how you respond and help the customer, like you just said, and the action that you take when you do call us as a partner to respond to some of your issues. But, I always try to say, I know we do a lot of stuff, but don't focus on what we do really well, especially if you have a long-term relationship with this person. That's what they're looking for, right? An honest, biased, opinion on how we can really help them.
Well, and the scenario that we're in, especially in technology, but I can guess that this is throughout a number of different domains as well, is that the pool of knowledge required to do your job is expanding. And the budget available to hire people is reducing, right? And so what's happening is, in every organization I've worked in, I've needed to look for help from the outside. Sometimes that's through some sort of consultant or contractor, but often it's through partners such as yourself, David, where I can reach out and I can leverage your expertise or your team's expertise in a certain area, and it generates that win-win that I love so much, right? It's like, you're generating business on what I'm doing, and I'm covering an area where I now don't have to hire somebody necessarily to do that work. Always have to provide oversight, of course, but it allows me to expand my pool of talent in a way that doesn't crush my budget, right?
Yeah, I mean, budgets, right? We're in that situation right now, certainly. So, listen, we're already up against it, if you can believe it, right? Time goes fast when we talk to you. You've really, in this 13 minutes, given out some great advice and sage advice for these folks like me and other reps trying to earn your business. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the friendship we've had over the years. And is there any last words of wisdom that you wanna leave?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're back on the horse here. Let's keep this going, right? You're providing some good service here. I don't know if this is appropriate for your audience, because some people are going to be in this business or not, but I've been thinking a lot about AI. We started the call with that.
Yeah.
And the thing about AI is it's only as good as the data upon which it's trained, right? Yeah. And most organizations, are poor at data still, even though it's been huge for a long time. And I think in a year, maybe 2 years, we're going to see a lot of movement towards organizations that have tried to invest heavily in AI, have failed, don't know why, and they finally come to the conclusion that they need to do their data. And if you're selling data services and data tools, that's going to be a big product for you. Again, I know that doesn't match everybody in your set, but I guess the lesson is think about what's coming, right?
Yeah.
If you're building a career, think about what's coming and think about where you can position yourself to be in the location where a lot of demand is going to exist. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense. People are always looking, where do I go next? What's going to be the next hot thing? Security, right? Cloud, AI, of course. Now, you can't get away from it. So I think that's really important, especially reps that are new in career, looking for, where do I focus next? I think that's awesome and great advice. Joe, as always, you're the best. I really appreciate it. I look forward to us getting together soon, and you have summer's around the corner, so let's enjoy it, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for everything.
Sounds good. Thanks again, David.
All right, bye-bye.